Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ajwa and I hope this video finds you well. If you are new to this place, please consider subscribing, and to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your support and welcome back. So one of the hardest things from my experience is to put together a top 10 list. It could be so difficult, trying to wrap up your brains to know, okay, do I like this one over this, put them together. For me, from my experience, it's quite difficult to do, but it is also one of the best videos for me to enjoy on YouTube. A top 5, a top 10, it's just so enjoyable trying to see which fragrances make up people's top 10 or top list. In this video, I've searched high and low and I've been able to come up with a top 10 Middle Eastern list. These are my current list, and as in most cases they change from time to time, but as we speak now, these are my top 10. I will start off with what people normally term as an honorable mention, and I had to just include this one because it couldn't find any place in my top 10. However, I feel it deserves a mention because I thoroughly enjoyed this fragrance, and this one is known as Caesar by F.A. Paris as part of their Giovanni Lorenzi line. This Giovanni Lorenzi line is one of the best lines I have come across when it comes to Middle Eastern, line. It's a very good one. All the fragrances are adorable. It is fashioned after Tiziana Terenzi's Chimera, which is quite a complex yet a mass appealing one. So this fragrance is made up of over 25 notes. It's one of the longest lists when it comes to notes that I have seen in any fragrance. It includes some patchouli, some leather, some moss, some vetiver, some carnation, like a host of them, and they come together to create this beautiful, complex yet a very pleasant one. It gives you that sort of earthy yet sweet with some honey, with some caramel. It gives off both a masculine and feminine touch. It is one that is perfectly unisex. It is great for evening or formal occasion. It doesn't come across as an easy fragrance to wear. You can't just put it out and wear it any day. That's how I feel, but it is a very beautiful one that is good for special occasions or night out, nighttime. A very delicious one mixed with that earthy patchouli with a host of honey, leather, moss, everything that you can think of. It is a very good one, so it deserves to at least be mentioned, and this is my honorable mention, Caesar by Giovanni Lorenzi, F.A. Paris. Then I come to the 10th fragrance, and this is going to be on the 10th position. I know people might go like, oh, why is this one on the 10th position? It's just because I have others which to me supersedes, my expectation when it comes to performance, scent profile, among other things I look for, when rating my fragrances. And this one is called Qaeed by Latafa. Everybody had to have this at one point. Cinnamon, cardamom, vanilla, leather, a very thick, resonant, almost masculine leaning fragrance, which I find very delectable. It gives off sort of a gourmandish vibes, a very thick, resonant feel. It's gives you that sort of delicious, masculine yet very unisex vibes. It is one that I would highly recommend. It is like on the 10th position, not because I want to. It's just on the 10th position because I just find others that I much prefer over this. However, I couldn't have made this list without this, so this is my number 10. And this list that I have, simply didn't come from one particular house. It came from about 6-7 houses. I guess gathered them from about 6-7 houses. Then I come to my next one, which is going to be a fragrance I have talked about for more than a year, and I still haven't found anyone talking about this fragrance on YouTube yet. And this one is called Nawatique by Ahmed Al-Maghribi. A very thick, in most instances I don't find freshies to be thick and resonant. This, however, is a very thick, oily, concentrated basil with some incense and some sort of minty vibes. It reminds me of Nichale's Annie without that heavy vanilla. It reminds me of that. It has something like ginger, but it doesn't really have the note of ginger, but it has that sort of warm, spicy yet a thick, resonant feel to it. It's a very unique freshie. It is one that can compete with a lot of designer scents. Like, it's quite different. The scent profile is not like the mass appealing one that we are used to, so this one had to be on this list, and this is Nawatique by Ahmed Al-Maghribi. Then I move on to my next fragrance, which is also one that I had to just have on this list, and it is one by Alhambra known as Infini Rose. So on the number 8 spot is Infini Rose. an Atomic Rose dupe made from some bergamot, some Turkish and Bulgarian rose, and other, you know, delicious notes, I should say. It is a very good one. It is on my number 8 because, as I said, I have others which supersedes this one according to my expectation. Nonetheless, it is a very beautiful, smooth, like very unisex, almost feminine leaning scent to me. It is like sophisticated. It doesn't have any harsh, you know, nuances to it. Very well blended, smooth. You don't need to allow this one to macerate for long before you enjoy it. For me, I enjoyed it from day one. It is one that I would highly recommend. It gives me a rose that I'm satisfied with. When it comes to roses, this is one that I'm totally satisfied with. I don't think a lot of roses will be able to compete with this one in my collection. I will vouch for this one every day, so I'll highly recommend this one, and it is my 8th on the list. The 7th position goes to a fragrance which a lot of people would term as Oriental. Although I'm used to a lot of Middle Eastern fragrances with their Oriental vibes, with the oubs and the skunk and the animalic and the harsh, you know, or strong nuances, this one has absolutely no oud. However, it is reminiscent of an oud-based fragrance that I know of, which is Shagaf oud, and this one is called Resala by Arabian oud. A very beautiful, dense chocolate, rose, some sort of I think it has some saffron. I think it has about 3 or 4 notes, like nothing too complicated, but it brings out this gourmandish, sweet, very feminine. Like, I find this one quite feminine without the oud. If you don't like the note of oud, you are, you know, welcome to try this one. This is a very beautiful one. It is very smooth. It doesn't have any skunk, no oud, nothing harsh about it. It gives you that sweet gourmand oud bouquet vibes. You know, it has been compared to oud bouquet or Shagaf oud. I have both, and I much prefer this one over Shagaf oud. It is a very beautiful, well blended, thick, resonant, long lasting, beautiful complement magnet. It gives you the hours, the performance, every single thing that you want in an Oriental. It is like one of the king or queens of Oriental fragrances. There is absolutely nothing to hate about this one. It reminds me a lot about the Middle East. You know, as soon as you spray this one, it just immediately reminds you of Middle East. Even if you have not been to Middle East before, it gives you a sense of how, you know, a typical Oriental style fragrance is. It is a very beautiful one. Then I move on to my next one, which is going to be the 6th fragrance, and this is one that I can't really stop raving about, and it had to be part of this current top 10 Middle Eastern list, and this one is called Ansaam Gold. Do I need to say anything about this further? I don't think so. I think I've spoken about it. It's this thick, resonance, rich marshmallow, whipped cream, fluffy, girly, you know, bubbly, sort of very feminine vibes. It is one that I highly recommend, you know, for almost everything. It is a very delectable, delicious orange blossom, you know, vibes, or orange blossom has that sort of edible note to it. This to me is quite mass appealing. It doesn't have that Middle Eastern touch to it. It is like a designer fragrance. This one is actually a dupe for a niche fragrance, which is Oriana, and this is a very good one. I love the scent profile. It is different from everything that I have in my collection. It doesn't smell like anything at all. It is different. It is feminine. It is like unique. It gives me the compliment. It is not the best when it comes to performance, but it still holds its own much better than a lot of designer and even some niche fragrances. This is a very good one to at least put your nose on. So this fragrance, which took the 5th position, is one that is quite new in my collection, but it's just, you know, supersedes my expectation when it comes to gourmand. If you're a lover of gourmand fragrances, you absolutely drew over this one, and this one is called Dar Al Shuyukh. I've forgotten the name of the house, so I just put it up, but trust me, this is heaven for gourmand lovers. It has this chocolate, cacao, caramel, sugar, very thick resonance, chocolatey vibes. It gives you that chocolate vanilla vibes in the veins of the Choco Max and the Nebras. You know, if you love Nebras, you will love this one. If you love Choco Max, you will love this one. However, this to me is a better version of those two fragrances. Very, like, much more better those two fragrances combined, in my opinion, I have loved it ever since I got it. It is like a true essence of a gourmand. It smells such like very delectable. It is not like offensive. It is strong. It is so strong that you don't even need to overspray this one, otherwise it might give you a headache, you know, and can even come across as a bit cloying. It is a perfect date night scent for hot summer nights or even like colder month, you know. It is going to do perfect for colder months. I highly recommend this Dar Al Shuyukh. I'll just put up the house up here at least so that you can know where it's coming from. A very beautiful one. It's quite an old one, you know. It's not like a new fragrance at all. It's quite, I think it was released in 2014, I'm not sure, you know, but it's quite an old fragrance that I got to know recently, and I'm loving every aspect of it. A very true gourmand. It gives you the longevity, the sillage. It leaves such a nice beautiful scent trail. Very true realistic gourmand. It gives you everything that you are looking for in a very, you know, like chocolatey cacao, but not like a powdery or cocoa powder, you know, sort of vibes. It's like a very thick, rich chocolate. Like if it is chocolate, it's like the premium chocolates, like Ghana chocolates. You know, Ghana chocolate is one of the best in the world, and Ivorian chocolates, but I prefer Ghana. I prefer Ghanaian chocolate. It's like very premium taste. The quality is, you know, unmatched. Very nice one that I believe a lot of people are going to drool over. You know, it's like man magnet, very delicious, very sexy, you know, that kind of vibes. It is one that I will highly recommend. At the fourth position is a fragrance that I also rave about, and I have compared it to one that I already have in my collection, and this is Watani Intense by Watania. This is not like one that I've also seen people talking about, and the list is quite personal to me. Like all these 10 fragrances are quite personal to me, simply because I didn't really follow any, you know, hype. I got some of them and then realized I truly adore them, not because they are super hyped. This one I have not seen anywhere else, you know. I guess, you know, it was a random thing I picked up, thinking, not knowing what to think, and I'm super glad I did, because it gives me a very unique Middle Eastern type style fragrance, you know, although quite refined. It gives me Oud Al with some refined sophistication to it. A very good blend, you know. To me, it's quite feminine leaning with some fruity accords to it, and some honey and some caramel, vanilla. Quite sweet. It also gives me the performance and everything that I look for in a fragrance. It is a very super unique one. It is quite complex, you know. It gives you that complexity that you want in the fragrance. It's a scent profile that is not like super common, you know. I don't think even for Oud Al, I've never even gone out and I've smelled people with those fragrances. Like most of the time, the fragrances that we overlook are quite unique, you know, and they will not, you know, be the ones that you meet whenever you go out. So it makes you stand out, you know, from the crowd. And that is what I love about this one. I love the scent profile. It gives me the longevity, the performance. It gives me compliments. People adore this fragrance on me. Anytime I wear it, you know, people, I don't know, maybe it just pulls well on my skin or my body. It's like it performs well. I get compliments. I've been asked a couple of times what I'm wearing whenever I pull Watani Intense Gold out. It's a very lovely, beautiful one, and it's quite personal to me. I guess for like, it's special, you know, it's super special to me at this point, because I don't find a lot of people talking about it, or anyone at all talking about it, and that makes it much more special to me. And that would be at the 4th position. Then I move on to the 3rd position, which is one that I didn't know what to expect from it. I have a fragrance in my collection which is quite similar. Initially I was like, it's okay, but after maceration, this one has created some wonders for me, and I simply cannot put this one down. And this is Isqh Al Shuyukh by Latafa. It's been compared to Resendo Mato number 5, and it's a very beautiful one. I like that caramel, that musky, ambery touch it has to wear with some leather, but you don't get much of that leather. It's not like a skunky or animalic leather, or, you know, any harsh leather at all. It is just like very subtle, with something like a very subtle tobacco. There's no tobacco in it, but you get something like a very subtle, you know, nuance to it. I super love this one. compliments, performance, everything, like every single thing. I'm so surprised that I have this one as number 3, but I think it could have gone further, but just because the next two are just dear to my heart. But this is a very beautiful unisex fragrance which leans a little bit to the feminine side, just because of that sweet gourmand touch it has. It is a very beautiful one. I see a lot of people talking about this, and simply because it is a very good one, affordable, gives you the longevity, the performance, every single thing. So this is my 3rd position, Isqh Al Shuyukh by Latafa. Then I move on to my next one, and this one has really surprised me. I got this one a while back on my visit to Dubai. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew it was a new fragrance, and I was like, okay, let me just test it. I tested it. I even talked about it, and later got to know that it's a dupe for Barbados Rose of No Land, and this one is Roses the Emotion. This is number 2 on my top 10 list for Middle Eastern fragrances. Surprise, This is not one that I would typically pull out. It is not one that I would typically go for. But upon initial spray, this one did something to me that a lot of fragrances have not. It just gave me some very warm feel. Like it's just like it gives me that comfort. It's like, wow. I was truly satisfied with this one upon first spray. It was different. It has some raspberry, some petals, something fresh, something light, something feminine, something comforting, something, that you would just want to douse yourself in. It gives me that sort of feel. I super love this one. I super adore it. I don't have anything close to this, You cannot really compare it to a lot of fragrances. It's like a different take on roses. It gives you that sort of very delicate May rose petal, like a wedding, those roses petals you throw on and the bride walks delicately on this. That is the vibes that this one gives me. It can qualify as a good bridal scent, like one that is going to be room filling. It's quite room filling, It is like quite bold without being too much in your face. I super adore this fragrance. I was surprised, because I have always told myself, oh, I love oud fragrances for the most part, but sometimes these freshies surprise me, and this one has done that, and I super love this one. I'll highly recommend this one too. And the last one, which is the very first on this list, is one that is like a mix between Oriental versus Western and a bit of niche, like a bit of every single thing that I want in a fragrance. It doesn't have no oud, but it still gives me a Middle Eastern vibes. It doesn't have like a very generic mass appealing touch, but it gives me something niche, something designer. And this one is called Watani Gold by Arabian Oud. This is a very lovely one. I can't get enough of this one. It is delicious. It is classy. It gives you a very classy, sophisticated, ladylike vibes. I think this one is quite unisex, but to me it leans just a little bit to the feminine side because of that fruity accords they have, or it has. A very beautiful one. It reminds me of summer or summer nights, although it has the punch and the density, that you can wear for any other season. To me, this is like year round. It gives me the performance, it gives me every single thing. A bit of Middle Eastern vibes, a bit of niche vibes, and a bit of mass appealing designer vibes. It is a very, like it's a moment of realization that I also enjoy certain type of scents which are not always like what I thought I enjoyed the most. Although I still, I enjoy those Oriental style. But sometimes you buy certain things and they satisfy you, it's like, I'm satisfied with this. And that is the reaction I got from this, it's like, I'm satisfied with this. Even if I have to go with this without any other for a while, I think this one will just fit the bill for me. So this is my numero uno, which is Watani Gold edition, or the 40th anniversary edition. So that is all I have for you. And I've been planning to do like a general top 10 list, including like my niche, my designer, and the Middle Eastern. And I know that is going to be super hard to do because coming up with a top 10 list or any other list is super difficult to do, but I'll try my best and bring that one out. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate that. Thank you, and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye bye.